We know for a fact that one of the very few environmental treatments which actually leads to sort of permanent increases in EQ which may the Flynn effect. These are gains not on G but on specialized abilities, so I have to edge by saying that this is not a gain in G, this is gain in S or specialized abilities, is exposure to educational attainment. So for some reason the environment in which people are exposed in a normal educational context is capable of stimulating the development of specialized abilities which persist outside of education. This is stuff which carries over, it doesn't fade out. A lot of these interventions fade out. For example, the Head Start program, which was like a kind of very specialized educational intervention but largely targeted sort of inner city youths. Those gains all faded out. Same with the Abacadarian project, a similar sort of thing. Those gains faded out. The gains which you get through training, they fade out, but not gains acquired due to education. So it's possible that what education is doing is it is creating signals of environmental which are evolutionarily familiar in a sense, that the brain responds to these signals as if they were an actual real relevant signal of ecological stability and low harshness, and in doing so it adaptively calibrates life history. And it is in adaptively calibrating life history by making your life history a little bit slower to adapt you to this recurrent stable niche which education is, it makes you better able to accumulate somatic capital and cultivate the development of specialized abilities. So all these other interventions fail because the nature of the environments don't map onto our stochastic sampling mechanisms, these genetic systems we have for sampling the environment and for turning the most environmental signals into an appropriate response in developmental time. So education apparently does re-specialized abilities. Do you mean it does by virtue of having it formally at a young age? By starting very early on and having a dose effect which is constant across 16 years of life, so that's probably what's happening. And if you think about what education is, you're forced to be social with your peers. You're forced to engage in specialization behaviors because now you come into contact with peers and you're forced to try and individuate right to develop a unique persona. You start developing interests. This is where the whole Bouchard-Johnson experience producing drive model kicks in. You have these feedbacks between environmentality and genotype which lead to gene-environment correlations being established, maybe even gene-environment interactions which can trigger patterns of specialization. And you also have an environment that's very safe and stable, more or less, and this could be a major cause of the anti-Flynn effect, is when you have educational systems starting to deteriorate and starting to break down and starting to become unpredictable, and where you have increasing violence and schools maybe or increasing disorder among the student body or breakdowns in discipline, etc. This could be a major factor driving the Flynn effect into reverse, because what it's doing is it's creating the opposite signals. It's creating signals of instability and harshness, and it's making you lose interest in acquiring somatic capital, and instead you develop a more sort of all selected type orientation. So I think that's a really good point which favours cognitive generalism as opposed to specialism.